One day after President Trump outlined plans to dramatically downsize protections on 2 national monuments in Utah, Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke announced what's ahead for federal preserves in Oregon and elsewhere. But in contrast to Trump's visit Monday to Salt Lake City, where he heaped praise on local politicians, Zinke held a conference call for reporters that offered few additional details Tuesday about the administration's plans for Cascade-Siskiyou National Monument in southern Oregon. "We have not set down in specifics on what an adjusted boundary would look like," Zinke said of the 113,000-acre national monument, originally designated by President Clinton in 1996. The Trump administration wants to revise the Oregon monument's boundary, presumably shrinking its size, because it believes some of the land legally must be harvested for timber to pay for local services. That question is at the center of 3 separate federal lawsuits filed earlier this year challenging a 48,000-acre expansion by departing President Obama. On Monday, Trump announced a plan to remove nearly 2 million acres of land from the Bears Ears and Grand Escalante National Monuments in Utah. The decision came nearly 3 months after Zinke's draft recommendations to shrink a handful of federal monuments first leaked. Oregon's Cascade-Siskiyou was on the list. The Oregon Monument includes land where the Cascade-Siskiyou and Klamath Mountain ranges converge and is the first protected area recognized specifically for its biodiversity. Zinke on Tuesday offered a full-throated endorsement of the months-long review process, which came at Trump's request and included examining 27 different monuments larger than 100,000 acres. He also said critics of the process, which produced the most significant revisions proposed to existing monuments in more than a half-century, were peddling lies from special interest groups. "Not 1 square inch of land has been transferred or sold," Zinke said, speaking of land in Utah's Bears Ears area, home to thousands of significant Native American sites. "This is not about energy. There is no oil and gas assets. There is no mine within the Bears Ears." Zinke said any accusation of land being sold off as a result of the administration's review is nefarious, false, and a lie. He called a campaign by outdoor retailer Patagonia, which accused the administration of stealing public land, appalling. "The crux of the argument behind monument review," Zinke said, was government overreach and a desire to listen to the states. "No one loves public land more than I," he said, "but what I do love is public lands being available for the people." Some Oregon activists and political leaders say Zinke's remarks, and the review process overall, are disingenuous. Secretary Zinke falsely claims the Interior Department is listening to the voices of Oregonians when it comes to the agency's damaging, vague recommendation to close off public access to the Cascade-Siskiyou Monument, SEN. Ron Wyden said in a statement. "This is not what the majority of Oregonians signed up for when they spoke out in favor of expanding protections for this Oregon treasure." SEN.